So guys, I'm going to be teaching us the introduction to the user interface of ETABS. So what we have at this point is, like every normal software, these toolbars, title bars. We have the file, edit, view, and define. Now the reason why all others are grayed out and file is open is because we've not created a new file. So at this point you can create a new model. You can also create a new model here, or you can come here and create a new model, open model, and imports and all of these. So these are previous works I have done before. Then these are where you can find all other toolbars, like the select, the draw shell, draw beams, and all of that. So now we are going to be creating a new model. So you can either press Ctrl N on your keyboard, come here, Ctrl N, or file, new model, whichever one you want. So you click new model. Now once you click it, a dialog box appears out there, which will give us user saves default settings, user settings for model file, or use built-in settings. So now you can see these default settings. You can decide to select it, then use settings for model file. That is, you want to use the settings you've used previously in one other project you've worked in. Then use built-in settings. So I'm going to be using this, and you select whichever unit you want to work with. I'll select the metric SI. Region for default material, so I'll choose Europe. Then steel section database, I want to use the BS ship 2006. Steel design code, I want to use Eurocode 3, and concrete design code, I want to use Eurocode 2. So if you put your mouse on this, it brings out what it is about. So once I click OK, it brings me to a new dialog box which is asking me for uniform grid spacing and simple story data. So I'm going to leave it as blank, and also I leave this one also as blank so that I can edit it later myself. But if you have a uniform, you can decide to use it. So it's telling you that in the direction X you have 4 grids, and in direction Y you also have 4 grids. Each of them are spaced at 8 meters interval. That is for uniform grid spacing. But since ours is not uniform, I'm going to select blank and click OK. So we have this. Now you can see it's our story 4. So let me introduce us to the toolbars and everything. So for file, you can create a new model while here. You can open a model, you can close this current model, you can save, then you can save as. So you can export as E2K file. So for example, I'm using ETABS 2020 and I want to send my ETABS file to somebody using 2016. So I can export as an E2K file. I can export my database in Excel, in Microsoft Access. If you want to import into other softwares like RCDC, you use this. You can bring out your database in text file or .xml file. Then you can export to Revit.exr, export to DXF and DWG file. Then DXF architectural grid, you can export into all of these. Then you can also import this and also export it similar to that. Then you can upload into CSI cloud. So you upload into CSI cloud. You can print graphics, create reports, capture, then you show previous jobs you've worked on. These are the previous recent jobs I just opened. Now under the edit, we can add model templates. You can use all of this. Replicate is to copy from the name, extrude is to bring it out in 3D. You can merge joints, you can align joints, frame and edges. You can move. So we are going to be using all of these. So for views, you can set the different type of views you want. You can define material properties, section properties, spring property. You can define whatever you want. Then you can draw your beams, you can draw dimension lines, you can draw columns, you can draw slab, whichever you want. You can also select. You can select if you want to select only slabs only, or you want to select slabs and column, you can select it, or by property. Then you assign joints, frames. So joints, you can assign supports, frames, you can assign a new property, or whichever one, diaphragms or whatever you want. Then shells, you can mesh, you can assign new slab section, you can assign stiffness modifier, you can link also, you can link properties. This link, we are going to be using it to model all these eccentric columns. You can do the tendons also for tendon property, so you can assign joint load, shell loads, and this to analyze. You can use it to analyze the structure whichever way you want. Display, you can display types of load results you want. Then design. So one good thing about ETABS is that it has arranged this for you. So after you view, you define, you draw, then you modify whatever you want. You assign the load, you analyze, you display your forces and deformations, then you design it, then you're good to go. So under here you can see mine is populated, but yours will be something like this: option, customize toolbars. I will reset it, so this is exactly what you have. So if you want to have something like mine, you click option, customize toolbars. I don't want to assign joints, I don't need it. Assign frame, I don't need it. Assign shell, I also don't need it. Then edit, to make it easy for me to, I can bring up my replicates and all of that, so I can do that. I can assign view if I wish to. I can also do the define if I wish to. So I think I'm okay with only edit popping up, so I click OK. On my left hand side here, I have this select object. This is to reshape objects. Maybe I drew a slab or a beam and it's not up to this particular length, I can reshape it. Then this is to draw beams on plan or elevation. This is quick draw beams. You don't need to drag and draw, you just paste and it draws there. This is quick draw secondary beam. So if you have a secondary beam, you can just place it there. Then this is to draw bracing. So we are done with that. Now in ETABS, beams is the same with columns. It's just that when you are designing, you define whichever one you want to design as column, and you define whichever one you want to design as a beam. So we have that. Then we have draw floor walls, draw rectangular, draw quick draw, and all of these which we are going to be using in this video. Okay,